It looks like Tyler Perry is being dragged out of his glass closet by Derek Dixon through this lawsuit that Derek has filed against him.
Whole world in his hands. Got the whole world in his hands. Hey, I'm just sitting here on my porch just looking. What am I looking at? I'm looking to the hills from whence cometh my help. For my help? Some of y'all know the rest. I just wanted to come on and just tell everybody, just be as calm as you can.
Welcome to the Lauren Blackwell channel. So when I posted the video about Smokey Robinson and the fact that he is going to have to face the SA allegations by the women that previously worked for him, I remember saying, I believe it was in that video, where I said, I wonder who will be next. Well, apparently it's Tyler Perry. To summarize what is included or what was stated in this, Derek Dixon filed a lawsuit, and in it he said when he met Tyler Perry in 2019, Tyler Perry picked him out as a potential actor for one of his movies, and they exchanged phone numbers, after which they became acquaintances where they would communicate directly between each other, and at some point they started to hang out. Derek Dixon was at his place one time and ended up sleeping in his guest's bedroom, and that was when the unwanted interaction occurred, or at least that was when it started. I'm not going to go into any of the ugly details. This is all over social media, so you guys probably already know what happened. However, I do want to talk about the text message exchange between Derek and Tyler Perry, at least the alleged text. So overall, the text seems to me as if Derek was being evasive. He wasn't showing any direct interest. Tyler Perry was showing clear interest, but Derek also did not come out and just say that he is not interested in pursuing a relationship. Now, if he was afraid for his work, I can understand why he wouldn't be that direct, because he might be afraid of losing his job. Even his current work that states that it is in production, I forgot the title, is also a Tyler Perry movie. Majority of his work has been work that he has done with Tyler Perry, it seems, at least from what I was able to find. So it's not surprising that he wouldn't just come out and say, no, thanks, I'm not interested. However, there were some parts, and I'm going to show them I'm going to read some parts of the message that I'm talking about. There's some parts where he was flirting a little bit, but then he made it seem, and I'm talking about Derek here, and then he made it seem as though he were joking, so it was not a clear no. And Tyler Perry was asking him to state if it is a definite no, that he is not, if he's not interested in a particular type of relationship. So here are the messages that they exchanged between them. I'm not going to read all of them. I'm just going to highlight a few parts, and you can read them as I speak. The complete text messages will be at the end of this video. So the first message is the one where Tyler Perry sent a picture. It was a nice picture, and Derek was like, nice picture. Yeah, the water does look calm. And Tyler Perry was like, nice picture, as in he wanted more of a compliment on himself. And I saw the picture, I'm like, well, that is a nice picture. But Derek was being evasive here. He wasn't being too forward, and you could tell. In this part of the message, Tyler Perry was taking the conversation in a sexual direction, But it also seems as if they talked about something sexual and therapy at some point before the text message started, because this particular message, it said, Tyler Perry said, "I would hope that you would let someone hold you and make love to you. You are missing the best years of your life, my friend. Trust me, I hope you get past that block in your mind soon." I guess this is when they were talking about the whole casual sexual relationship thing. And Derek said, "Well, it's not this person, but yes, I want that too. I'm working on it. Therapy is helping." So it seems like they previously had a conversation prior to this, and it does not seem as though Tyler Perry is just jumping in with some random sexual statement. However, I do want to point this part out. So, although I'm not getting the sense that Derek is leading him on, I'm just not getting that. He's not like the one introducing the sexual conversations. It seems like Tyler Perry is the one introducing those sexual conversations. Take that with a grain of salt though, because these conversations just sort of started from the middle. Like these text messages we're looking at, we can't see the beginning or the end, so we can only understand so much. Here is the part that I really wanted to highlight. So, Derek said, "My mom literally thinks I'm going to sell my soul to the Illuminati. She heard Kanye say that it's real." And Tyler said, "Well, I don't think that, but I do think that you have to be able to say no and mean it and make it clear." See? That's the part that threw me off, because he's saying that if he means no, he needs to say no and make it clear. But I guess that's to the Illuminati. I guess they're talking about a different group of people, not to Tyler Perry's own sexual advances. And then Derek said, "I'll only say yes if it gets me an Oscar." And then he said, just kidding, I hear you." And then Tyler said, "Well, the only one who could have gotten that for you through sex is in prison, so just stick to the no unless you're really into him." So that was a nice thing for Tyler Perry to have told Derek, to say if he means no, he needs to say no. Derek did indicate in his lawsuit that he said no to Tyler, but then Tyler Perry grabbed his throat later on, his neck later on, and made another sexual advance. So it's like, it's kind of confusing. Derek also is kind of, I don't know if flirting is the right word, because he said he would sell his soul to the Illuminati if it gets him an Oscar, but he also said he was just kidding. So it's like they're both, I don't know what Derek is doing there. It's like you can't joke about something like that. You're for that kind of a thing or you're not. But then jokes are jokes, so you kind of have to, I don't know. See, this is what makes stuff like this so murky, where it makes it difficult for people to pinpoint exactly where the harassment started. It makes it really messy and difficult. So I want to move on to Christian KEYES, because there is a lot of similarities between what Christian KEYES is saying and what Derek Dixon is saying now. The full version of Christian's video is also at the end of this video.
You get a grown man that knows that you're heterosexual and you're sleeping off Hennessy in his guest room because he says it's safe. Because I know I'm bad, so I'm after a big party. Won't say what type, won't say where. I'm asleep. I'm gone because I'm 4-5 Hennessy's deep and not short Hennessy's either. And this dude tries to climb into bed with you. So you spaz out, push him out, like what the get ready to leave. He apologizes, blame it on the alcohol. And you try to forgive him. So you're like, alright man, alright, I'm gone. You shake his hand on the way out and he tries to grab your penis. He tries to shake and grab your equipment. and you spaz even more. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, my bad. So you go to leave, he tries to do it again. Now, at that point, my only regret is not breaking multiple bones in this person's face.
Christian Keyes, I think a couple of years ago, maybe, or was it last year, when he said that he has been getting harassed by a huge person in the movie industry that everybody knows and respects. And it's been happening for years. And he said no, a clear no, but they won't stop. They won't leave them alone. And he described being at this person's house, drinking too much Hennessy, ending up in the guest room, falling asleep, and waking up to some sort of SA about to happen. Christian also said that this mogul paid him $100,000 just for him to take his clothes off. And he said that the mogul told him that he will not be touched. He just wants to see him naked, and he will pay Christian $100,000. But Christian still said no, and that may have caused some resentment between himself and that person. Christian Keyes recorded some of his conversation with this person, this big movie producer person, and he actually has a recording and he could play it, and that would be crazy if he did. And he said that if he played it, everyone would recognize who it is. Now, after he came out with that news, a lot of people assumed that it was Tyler Perry, but Tyler Perry's team did not come out and address it. They kept quiet about it, and Christian did not say that it was not Tyler Perry. He did not come out and say no, it is not Tyler Perry. Don't ruin someone else's name over this. You know, he did not come out to defend Tyler Perry. So, and then he kept quiet about it after that whole news came out. He kept quiet after that. So a lot of people assume that it's Tyler Perry. Honestly, we're still not 100% sure that it is, but a lot of people really believe that it is. So with Christian Keyes' news, his narration of what happened to him versus what Derek Dixon is now saying happened to him, there's a lot of similarities with the whole guest room and Hennessy and falling asleep, and suddenly Tyler Perry is right there being all groupie. So this is not looking good for Tyler. It is not looking good. The text messages do not really help Derek's case, in my opinion. But what do I know? I'm not an attorney. I'm not a judge. But it wasn't, because Tyler himself was telling him if he means no, he needs to say no. And Tyler Perry also, in one of the messages, he said that he keeps his work strictly professional, and his interactions, his casual interactions are off of work, but when he's at work, it's strictly professional, and that Derek got to where he is through his own hard work and not for anything else. So the messages do not really help Derek, in my opinion. However, with Christian Keyes and Derek's words, it begins to look really bad for Tyler Perry. Oh, and everyone cut the shade towards the love doctor that was thrown in there. But here's the thing. I just wish these men will understand that any one of them can be fair game to this happening to them. And their desires will always be their number one downfall. Always. Like, a man can work his entire life to accumulate resources, and then his desire will cause him to lose everything. I'm not saying Tyler Perry's going to lose everything, but I don't know what happened. This is still unfolding, and I take the stance of don't pick any sides until you get as much detail as possible. When I learned of these text messages, the first thing that came to my mind is, why would Tyler Perry decide to have this kind of a relationship with a guy who's still working for him? Not a guy that worked for him in the past and they maintained friendship. This guy, the Derek, was literally still working with Tyler Perry. And you can tell by their exchange, their text exchange, that you can tell the power dynamics in the way Derek speaks to Tyler Perry. He's very respectful. He pretty much agrees with everything Tyler Perry says without much argument or even a dissenting opinion. He just sort of agrees. That shows there's a bit of a power dynamic there with Tyler Perry being the more powerful person. Did Tyler Perry not pick up on that and think, well, this isn't really equal. Perhaps I should not be asking this guy out. Instead, he decided to have a relationship with Derek. It was almost as if Tyler Perry believed that as long as they weren't on set, their interactions off set was completely unrelated to the fact that they work together and he's Derek's superior at work. It's like he didn't quite make the connection because in one of his messages, he was like, listen to me. If you let the cast know that you and I have a new friendship, you're opening yourself up to a lot of questions and foolishness. You want them to know that you are there because of your talent, not because we have a friendship or because Tony got me to give you a job. You earned your spot like everyone else. Don't give people an opportunity to play you small or they will. I can't teach you everything. Unfortunately, there's some things you'll have to learn for yourself. Okay, so hear this part. He said, because when we go back to work, I'm not going to know you. I don't have any friends that work for me, my friend. Professionalism is key. Just because they are not on set while all of this other conversation is going on does not mean that he isn't having this relationship with someone who works for him. You just cannot separate it just because you're not on set. You don't get to separate it, you know? They still work for you, whether they're on set or not, they still work for you. So I guess he's talking about keeping it discreet, but it does not change the fact that Derek works for him. So there's a bit of a power dynamic there that he's not understanding. He feels like he can switch on the power dynamic while they're on set, but when they're off set, everything is just normal and they're just two guys. No, it still goes on, you know? So that part I didn't quite understand. But yeah, that's all for the text between Derek and Tyler Perry that we have seen so far. Tyler Perry's team has not come out yet to let us know whether or not these messages are real and truly from him, or if they're doctored in any way. We don't know. This is just what Derek has put out so far. So it is really not good that he's getting accused of this at this time. He is growing. He's becoming even more successful, and I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the work that he is putting out. His work, his movies are becoming bigger and more successful, especially with his last two movies. You can see a huge improvement. I recently made a video about Mea Culpa and Straw and some other movies that he has coming out. And for this to come out now, it is very bad timing. Very, very bad timing. And then the amount that is being requested, $260 million. I am confused about something. And it is this. How do people come up with the amount to sue for in these kinds of situations? By the way, I should probably say this. I'm not on anyone's side in this. I don't know these people. People do the strangest things, and you find out you really don't know them at all. So I'm not on anybody's side. However, 260 million is all kinds of ridiculous. The amounts keep going up and up and up. We went from 30 million to 50 million to now 260 million in damages. Was this actor worth $260 million and then somehow suffered damages that cost him that much for him to sue for this amount? Like, how did they come up with this amount? That's just what I want to know. Is it based on the accused person's net worth, or is it based on actual damages that were suffered by the supposed victim? 260 million is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And Tyler Perry and his team are denying this, obviously, and I think they will be willing to fight it in court. I've already seen some people say that he needs to settle, and it's like, come on. If someone accuses you of something and files a lawsuit, you don't just jump in and settle, because it's going to cause a lot more people to accuse you of anything, and you can't settle with everyone. He's going to run out of money. So if Derek is able to show some proof of this, I think that will help his case, or it will help Tyler Perry's case if he has his own electronic communication that he's able to show. However, this may cause a lot of damage to Tyler Perry's name and work. And this is the negative thing about this, because even before it ever gets to court, if it even gets there, the damage that it causes is so much. Sometimes the accusers are harassed online before people even get to know what happened. And then sometimes the person being accused is being harassed as if everyone has proof that they actually did what they've been accused of doing without proof. So either way, this causes a lot of damage, and it's just crazy. I think that if it turns out that, personally, if someone accuses me of something like this and it turns out and everyone finds out that I did not do it, I am going to sue everyone involved in that lawsuit, because you have to send a message that people cannot continue to come after you and cause all of this damage to your name and work. And just when it's proven to be false, they just go about their lives and you're left to pick up the pieces of your life. And that's not okay, So we'll see how this turns out. This is insane. 260 million. How do they come up with this number? I can't get over that. How do they come up with this number? How did he suffer damages worth 260 million if he does not have assets or money worth that much that was affected by this? But on the other hand, if he suffered emotional distress, then how do you put a number on that? So I guess I can see it from both sides. Before I leave, here are the receipts I gathered.
Good evening. Hope everybody's doing amazing. I've been speaking to my brother about making a declaration of my experience. What I experienced with certain powers that be that were moving inappropriately. And I really, it's in my bone marrow to discuss that, because thankfully God built me the way that he built me, but I'm not sure, based on this person's claims and brags, that he's literally got, at the same time this person was sexually harassing me for years. He was claiming, that he had multiple young black men on the payroll, and they just had to show up when he requested them to be there. And clearly that's why it felt to him that it was okay to say these things. And I want to have these discussions. I want to be transparent with y'all about that. I've done my best to forgive this person, but it happens. It happens. It's not just women that have to deal with it, but it's also men sometimes. And it'll be men tempting men. And that's why a lot of my posts over the last few years have been about taking the scenic route, taking the long way around, because if that means that you can carry your integrity with you, then, and it's 11:11. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for another opportunity to connect with you. Please forgive my sins, my shortcomings, my bad decisions, and my mistakes. Please continue to guide and protect us as only you can. Everybody that's watching, it's not a presentation. If I see 11:11, I try to have another conversation with God. So thank you, Heavenly Father. I appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. In Jesus Christ's name we pray, amen. That's interesting. But there are people that will and have and will continue to, unfortunately, offer these things. And some of them are your heroes. Some of them are people who you're like, oh yeah, such and such is amazing, and he does this and he does that. Yeah, but he also does this and that. At some point soon, it's going to have to come out. I've kept one of these on me since '05. Whether it's a keychain recorder or a pen, because most predators would check your phone. And once this harassment started, I was like, well, I got to protect me, because I'm saying no, and I don't want this person, as powerful as they are, to try to get in the way of my work. So I started recording. So I have them offering me money to take my clothes off. I had recordings when I wasn't working with them or for them. I have recordings of them confessing that, the other guys that they have on the payroll, all of the above. And the difference is, the wonderful thing about confidentiality agreements and non-disclosure agreements is that they can't prevent you from turning all of those things over to the police, because sexual harassment is a crime. Attempted sexual assault is a felony. And Tams, you literally just asked, why do we as black people have to deal with that? But sometimes it's our own people. Sometimes it's our own heroes. Sometimes it's the very people we deify. And we look up like, oh, they're doing so much, they're doing so much. No, they're also doing this. And my only reservation about naming the people, you know, there was directors along the way like, hey, you know, you read for this, that, and the other. You want to come back up to the apartment? I'm like, nah, I'm good. You got my headshot, my resume, and I'm good. You know if I can handle that or not. You know I can kill that, but I don't need to come up to your apartment. We already had the audition. There's other people that I want to say everything, and my brother was like, nah, not yet. I want to tell it on the mountain, over the hills, and everywhere.
It's gonna have to happen. I'm interested to see which peers are mad at me because it may interfere with their work. But, yeah. You get a grown man that knows that you're heterosexual and you're sleeping off Hennessy in his guest room because he says it's safe. Because I know I'm bad, so I'm after a big party. Won't say what type, won't say where. I'm asleep. I'm gone because I'm 4-5 Hennessy's deep and not short Hennessy's either. And this dude tries to climb into bed with you. So you spaz out, push him out, like what the get ready to leave. He apologizes, blame it on the alcohol. And you try to forgive him. So you're like, alright man, alright, I'm gone. You shake his hand on the way out and he tries to grab your penis. He tries to shake and grab your equipment. And you spaz even more. Like, what the? Oh, my bad. So you go to leave, he tries to do it again. Now, at that point, my only regret is not bringing multiple bones in this person's face.
But anyway, that's all I have on this. We'll see how this progresses, and I will keep you guys updated. Thank you guys for watching. See you in my next one. Bye, guys.